Hey guys, so as promised, I'm making a double exposure tutorial today, and the graphic that you see right here is the double exposure graphic. And what this is, really quickly, is just two pictures blended together to be seen at the same time, but one is shown through the shadows and one is shown through the highlights, creating double exposure. Okay. And so I'm just going to go through this quick step-by-step process. This is meant to be a quick project to kind of get us through the EOCs. A nice casual project. Shouldn't take more than maybe even two classes. So maybe not even two classes. So let's jump in, and I'm going to show you how I created this graphic right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually delete this. This is the final product. I'm just going to delete this layer here. And this is where we're going to start. This is my self-portrait. We should all have a self-portrait. And what we're going to do is stack in the layers over here the self-portrait on top of the background picture, or the picture that you're going to fill inside of your self-portrait. Okay, so stack those two together, and then what we're going to do is cut out our subject. So using the quick selection tool, cut it out. Keep in mind though, your self-portrait picture should be taken on a solid background, because it makes it easier for cutting it out, and it won't detect all those extra lines and textures that you might have in your picture. So if you took a picture outside, make sure that there's no tree branches, nothing like that, no textures going on, no lines in the background that this would detect, just to make it easier on you. Okay, so now my guy is selected out, and I'm going to use the layer mask tool down here in the layers panel to cut it out. Alright, so now we should see our cutout subject, and now our background picture should be coming through, because our layer mask hides what is represented in black over here, so that would be all this outer edge, and the white is what we can see. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is actually copy this mask that we just created. We're going to copy it to the background picture, and this is how we're going to do that. Hold Option on your keyboard, and if you just click and drag the layer mask down to the other layer, you can see over here I just made a duplicate and copied it to the other layer. So if I turn off my subject, this is what it should look like. Alright, so I'm going to do that one more time. Just hold Option, click, and drag down. Let go of your click first, and then let go of Option. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is blend these two pictures together. So what I'm going to do is make sure I click on the image, not the layer mask. Click on the image here, and I'm going to go to my blend modes, which is right here where it says normal by default. And I'm going to choose a blend mode to blend these two together. Anything up here in this section is going to blend, leaving all the darks. So check it out. It leaves all the darks, right? That doesn't really look all that good because we can't really see the mountain picture that well. If I keep going, dark, dark, dark. But this second menu here is probably something that you would want to start off. And the one blend mode I start off with all the time, it's the first one I try because it usually works for this style, is screen. And so as you can see, now a lot of both pictures are able to be seen. My self-portrait and the mountain are showing almost equally. So I really like that. Screen is where I start off, and then I kind of work my way around the other ones if the screen doesn't quite work for this scenario. Anyway, now that we got that, we're basically halfway there. Let's fill in this background. You can see we have a checkered board. That just means there's no background yet. So down here in the layers panel, this little piece of paper looking thing, that's a blank layer. And on that blank layer, I'm going to drag it to the bottom, because being on the bottom says it's going to be my background. And I'm going to fill it with a color. And on my final final graphic I showed at the beginning, the background was kind of a sky blue-ish. So I'm going to go down to my colors, and actually you can click anywhere inside your graphic currently and it will sample that color. See, it just jumped right over to it. So I'm going to kind of do that sky bluish, maybe like a softer sky blue from the clouds. Almost like a nice light blue gray-ish color. Okay, that's just me. You can do any color you want, or any texture, or any kind of background you want. But the point is we don't want to have a distracting background because we want our graphic in the middle or our self-portrait to stand out. So just like that, use the paint bucket tool to drop it in there. And if you don't know where the paint bucket tool is, just hit the letter G on your keyboard and it should jump right to it. All right. So now my picture is looking pretty good. I like the solid color in the background. It's making my picture pop, but I think we can do something a little bit more. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hunt down, let's see here, the background picture. You know what, I'm going to do it this way instead. I'm just going to duplicate this background picture here. So I'm going to right click on it. Right click on the words. Right click on it and duplicate layer. The reason why I'm duplicating it is because I want to fill, well, hello there, email. I want to duplicate the mountain picture here, but I want to fill everything. So what I'm going to do is, since I duplicated it, it duplicated with the layer mask. I'm just going to turn that off, basically, or delete it. And there we go. But now it's overtaking everything. But what we can do is just use the opacity. This is what I'm going to do. And soften that up. I'm going to bring it way down, like maybe 15%. Just a nice, subtle background. Kind of brings in the theme together. I like how it's bold inside here, but it just kind of runs off into a real soft extension of the picture. I like that. Anyway, you can do whatever you want for the background. That is your choice, but we want it to pop. That is the goal. Nothing distracting. Okay, so what left is there to do? There's a couple things we can do. This could be done now if we want it to be. But what we can do is we can paint on the layer mask to show or hide certain parts of our picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to brush out and hide this my hat here, so it kind of just like fades into the sky. So I'm going to go over to my layer mask over here where my guy is, grab my paintbrush, big brush, make it smaller, and I'm going to brush out my hat. Now it's not really doing much yet because I have to brush out the mask on the background picture as well because I put it on there too. So jump over there. There we go. But I got to do both. I'm going to leave the mountain there though because I think it's kind of cool how it's like my head just kind of gets chopped off by the mountain. So this might be the one time-consuming part of the whole entire project, is just making it that much more perfect or that much more impressive. Because you can show or hide any part of it to make it artistic. So you can still see a little bit of the hat. I just jumped back over to the hat. Okay, cool. So what else can we do? I'm going to hide my shirt down here so that the picture takes more of a presence down at the bottom. So I'm just going to take the brush, erase the details of my shirt, the color, the wrinkles in the arm. Actually, I kind of want my arm to show. So if I paint with black, it erases. If I paint with white, brings back. So check it out. I chopped off my arm. Let's bring my arm back. I kind of like it's showing the arm right there. It's kind of nice. Okay, let's see here. Well, maybe I want to erase part of the mountain in my face so that my face is shown more. Zoom in. Actually, I kind of erased a little too much in my opinion. So check this out. Let's go back, undo, edit, step backwards. There we go. I'm going to actually brush, but I can control the opacity of my brush. So let's go down here. That's better. Just a nice subtle brush, a subtle eraser. Much better. All right. I can play with this all day, guys. All right, so I think I'm going to do one more thing. I can play with adjustment layers over here and add to it, make the colors pop or whatever. And so that's actually kind of what I'm going to do is add just a final touch, little hue and saturation layer. I kind of like my double exposures to be almost a little bit gray-like, not like the color's not so rich. I mean, you can make the colors pop if you want to. If you want a real bright neon picture, that's cool. I kind of like the subtle look, so I'm gonna make it like more grayish, kind of like that. And I'm also gonna make it pop with a little bit of contrast. So bring up the contrast, that contrast up a bit. So you can see kind of before and after. Before, really soft. After, pop. Color, before, after. It's a little subtle. I could probably make it more gray. Before, after. And there we go. I think this is done. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 5 steps, pretty much. A little bit of playing around at the end, make it look good, and you got yourself a double exposure. Have fun with it. Make sure you're using a self-portrait that you took, whether it's you or a friend, and a blended picture that kind of tells a story, whether that it describes you or it just it's got a lot of detail. The wider the shot, you can see that I have like a landscape shot. The wider the shot, the better, because you have more details to fill in. So think about it like one picture is a close-up, one picture is a wide shot. Have fun with it, guys. Let me know if you have questions in class. See ya.